Welcome to my game room. This is the first stop of 4, actually, that I want to show today because I want to talk about DIY art projects, some of them pretty big like the one behind me, that you can do very easily, very cost effective, fun for the family, will last forever, and serve a specific purpose. So the first one. This is a piece of art that my kids, my wife, and I did, mostly by the kids actually, 14 years ago. So this is our game room. My concern was always playing pool. If I put a piece of canvas and somebody with a cue stick does this or an exuberant something happens and they damage whatever art we put here. Also, this is a really long wall, so we needed a big piece. So this piece here is about 3.5 feet tall and it's about 7 feet long. It is mounted on a French cleat system behind this, which means it is rock solid, no pulling it off, no knocking it off. I will show you at the end what the French cleat system is because I have actually used it on a few different pieces here. So this is a piece of plywood that before the pool table, before the flooring was down, I put 4 paint cans on the floor. Bought the plywood, cut it, placed it down on the paint cans. I'll show photos of this at the end also. And then what I did is drew 3 different sized perfect circles and taped them off with painter's tape. And then I got all different colors of acrylic paint as well as black paint. I painted the black paint as a backdrop for this, so it was just a solid piece of black MDF plywood. And then I gave my kids a smock and some paintbrushes and a whole bunch of paint and let them just flick and splatter away. So at the time we did this, my son was 4, my daughter was 2, and they had a blast. I kind of had to move them around so they didn't focus too much in one area, but it's all different colors, just splattered, painted, flicked, brushed, whatever. When they were done with their part, I took the painter's tape off of the 3 billiard balls, and then I painted the 3 and the 9 and the 8 to make it a little bit artistic. And then I put a 1x2 wood frame painted black around it. And again, then I used the French cleat system to install this. That French cleat I'll show you specifically here in a bit, but it's basically a 6-foot long piece up top and a 6-foot long piece down below that locks this in, never gonna go anywhere, durable, easy, great looking. When people walk into the room, they say, "That is so cool. Who did that for you?" And then I point to my kids. Just like the piece by my pool table that was protecting my walls and protecting art from stray pool cues, I also needed to protect my walls from spray darts when we're playing with darts. This is a plastic tip dartboard. However, we all know sometimes people miss. And I didn't want a bunch of holes and damage on the walls. So I wanted a backdrop. The ones that were sold in stores I didn't like, so I made this one. This, again, is a piece of plywood mounted on the French cleat system that I'll get to. And then I just basically spray adhesive a padding over the plywood. And then I went to a fabric store and found a great fabric that I love. And this fabric matches the room really well. And basically wrapped the wood with that and then stapled it on the back side so that it's tight. So now this has a little bit of cushion. Then I could mount the dartboard to that. So when we're playing, if somebody's a little errant, and when my kids were young, things were a little bit scattered. So there's been a lot of darts that have hit this. But the darts hit, they don't damage the plastic tips most of the time. But if they do, take the plastic tip out, put in another one. But this is also a piece that looks really good. So I like the way this turned out. Really easy, inexpensive to do. This has also been here for about 14 years and it's going strong. This piece of homemade art is a lot of fun and I love it. This was actually done by my son. Now he did this before he was even 1 year old. This was a project at daycare. We've all had the kids come home from daycare with macaroni plastered on a paper plate or a bunch of Cheerios on a string with half of them eaten and the rest of them gooey and soggy. Well, this was a piece of paper, actually some heavy cardstock, that came home with like brown and black and gold and orange paint. And what they told us is they just sat the kids down with paper and some paint and protected with a smock and some plastic cups and brushes, and they just swiped and pounded away because they were one. They didn't know what they were doing. But I saw this and I'm like, that's actually pretty cool. I can actually put this up. So I signed his name and put the date of when he did it and have put it on the wall, and it has been here for probably about 15 years. I love it, will always have it. It's just kind of a unique, funky piece of art. And I think it goes to show that some art can truly be done by anybody. Here's our next piece. This is pretty cool. My wife actually did this one. So, some simple pieces of wood that have a light stain on it to make it a little bit weathered, with a vertical piece of wood behind it here and here, screwed in from the back to keep them all locked together. And then it's just some simple paint. So you can cut out your letters out of some hard cardboard stock and then trace them and then fill in the paint, which is what was done here. But this is a piece that's been here for several years as well. Again, very durable, will last forever, kind of fun. It's near our back door and our back hallway. Absolutely love this. So I talked about the French cleat system, which can be used for this. I don't actually have a French cleat behind this, but it could. But the two other pieces were a French cleat. So what you're gonna do is you're gonna take like a 1x2 board and rip it on a 45-degree angle. And then what's gonna happen is you're gonna attach one of these to the piece of art and one of these to the wall. So if this was the wall, you would put this angle here against the wall so that it angles down towards the wall. Then you would put this piece against the piece of art so that it angles up towards the piece of art. So then when you slide the art down onto the wall, let's say this is the wall, this slides down and then it rests in place and it locks in. So you can't pull it off of the wall this way. The only way to remove it is to pull the piece of art up. Sometimes a single piece, a single cleat, is fine on the top of the art piece. Sometimes you would put two. I've always kind of done two so that the bottom of the art is locked and the top of the art is locked. But this is the French cleat system. Cut to whatever length you need. Again, the piece by the pool table is actually about 6 feet long because that's really heavy, screwed into studs so that it can support the weight. And then the one that the dartboard is on is only about 2 feet long. But this is a French cleat system. Awesome, awesome way to hang really heavy pieces that you don't want to be knocked off the wall. So those are my DIY, inexpensive, pretty easy to do if you really look into the pieces and the materials that you want to create. So go out there and have some fun and hang some art on the walls. Thanks.